Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm again back with a very interesting topic which is inspired from my book The Power of Self-Talk. And today I'm going to talk about the key difference between reality and imagination. And by the time this video will end, you will understand what exactly is the meaning of reality, what is the meaning of imagination, why do we live in imagination, and what we can do so that we can leave the imagination and live in the real life. Let me start with a very interesting story. This story is of a thief who used to open any lock anywhere in the world. People were always afraid, especially the rich people, that anyone, any day, that thief will come and then open the door and take away all the money that they are having. And the thief was also getting more and more stronger and powerful about that. In fact, he also started questioning and challenging everyone to make any lock which no one can open, but he can open himself. To his utter surprise, one day, he got a message that some big rich businessman has created a lock which nobody can open, and in case he wants, he can challenge himself and try to open that lock. Since that thief was very much convinced that he can open any lock, he said, okay, I'll accept that challenge and I'll go there. There was a huge money which was spent on that particular occasion, and then he was going to get a lot of reward in case he could open that door. So there were many people who were there. And for the first time, he was doing all that in front of everyone, because every time he was stealing something, so he was alone. So he started having a lot of pressure that so many people are saying, but he was very convinced that he can do that. So when the competition started, he started trying all his skills, all his tricks to open that lock. He tried so much hard, and after even many hours, he could not open that lock. And then finally he decided to quit. And then he asked that businessman that why I'm not able to open this lock. The businessman replied with a smile that the door was never locked. Something similar happens in our life also, that we make huge pressure around us. Sometimes we also say that we create a mole, convert a mole into a mountain. And then we think that it's so difficult, but actually things are not that. Well, Seneca has said a very interesting thing. He said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. In general, if you see, life is very simple. Things are not that complicated. If we follow those 5 traits in our life, things will be very easy. And these 5 traits are: wake up on time, sleep on time, eat on time, always respect everyone. And the fifth and the most important is talk to everyone with respect. And if you see, I'm not talking something very big, something new. You all have read it. You all must have understood through the scriptures, through our parents, grandparents, elders, teachers. They all are saying all these 5 things from time to time. And we all know that these things are true. But what is happening? In general, we see, when we see the people around us, we find that people are actually not believing in all this. And when we start believing in all these 5 basic traits, we find that there are many people who are there to convince us that it does not work. And when we start believing in those people, so we come into that competition mode. We become so much confused about what is happening in life. And then, like many other people, we also start saying the same thing, that life is not easy. To win something, you need to lose something. Everything is fair in love and war. I don't have time. I don't have even money. And when we talk all those things, then we become more frustrated. So in a way, we are living in an imaginary world and not the real world. But we start feeling that that word is the real word, because majority of the people are like that. Well, it has been very rightly said by many psychologists that when you focus on problems, you will have more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you will have more opportunities. So it's very important to see that whether we are living an imaginary life or the real life. The more we live in imaginary life, the more the life will be complicated, the more challenges will be there, and will always be depressed down and downgraded ourselves. Like you can see in our practical life, say for example, you think about your boss. We are always trying to please the boss. We always feel that this time I should get the increment, but what will happen if I don't get the increment? We are always thinking that what will happen in case whatever good work that I'm doing, somebody else takes the credit. And there can be so many things which we think, and we create an imaginary world around us. The interesting thing is, maybe the boss is not thinking anything about you, maybe good or bad. And even if the boss is thinking bad about you, what you can do? You don't have anything in your control. Something similar happens in a relationship also. For example, take the example of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Now, both have their own mindset. Both think about good and bad about the other. So even without knowing each other, even without living together each other, they have their own mindset, and they start talking and behaving and believing accordingly. So you can imagine the kind of relationship what is going to be there. Now coming back to those golden five traits which I talked about: waking on time, sleeping on time, eating on time, always respecting, and always giving respect to others. Once we start following all these five traits, then life becomes very easy. The things become very simple, and we can do whatever we want to do. It is something like that there's a huge banyan tree, and now you want to water it. Now there are two options. One is that you're going to each and every leaf and you're watering it, cleaning it, and doing all that. Something what would in a relationship also, wherein we are just trying to please everyone. We are just trying to make people feel special, wherein we are just trying to tell people how intelligent we are. Now there's another option. Now we can just water the root of that banyan tree. And interestingly, each and every leaf, the thousands of leaves will get all the nourishment from that root. Something we can do ourselves also, that rather than pleasing everyone, rather than thinking about making things happen with everyone else, why not focus on ourselves and see that what I am doing and what I can do? And once we start doing it, things become very simpler. Very, very rightly said, very interestingly said by someone, that maybe you're searching among branches for what appears in the roots. So what to do? There are certainly three things that we can do. And once we do that, things become simpler. Meditate every day. Think about yourself when you are alone. So it means we are talking about that at that time, you have to have some sort of a mindfulness with yourself and do the self-talk. When we do these three things, meditation, self-talk, and mindfulness, things become more simpler and easier, and our life becomes simpler. Very, very interesting quote said by Mahatma Buddha. He said that, "What have you gained from meditation?" when someone asked him. So Buddha replied, "Nothing. However, let me tell you what I lost: anger, anxiety, depression, insecurity, fear of old age and death." My dear friends, I am challenging myself every day to live in the real world, not in the imaginary one. I know that I keep on shuffling between real world and imaginary world, but every day I'm challenging myself to be on the real world. What you are doing it. I'm looking for your feedback. Thank you.